Alright, so in this video we are going to look at simultaneous equations. We have a question will tell you solve for x and y. Okay, so gelijktijdige vergelijking, lots op vir x en y. I'm only going to do one example because it's really straightforward. But if you don't know how to do equations, like just solving for x, you're not going to be able to do the simultaneous equations. So first go back to my first video where I explained how to solve for x, or my second video I mean, your equations, and then after you've mastered that, when you come back to simultaneous equations. Alright, now let's say, let's look at this one. Where's my pen? Okay, 2x plus 3y is equal to, let's say, 22. And then I give you a second equation, y is equals to x minus 2, for example. Alright, so how many equations do I have here? I have two equations. We have equation number 1 and we have equation number 2. Now, or however you wish to number it, so let's not number it yet. When you go and ask yourself, so remember your first step is to get x or y alone. So what will be easier to get alone? Right, obviously, yeah, my y is already alone. So you don't necessarily have to make this one and this one number 2. Find the one where x will be the easiest to get alone, or y the easiest to get alone. Alright, so then this is going to be equation number 1, and this one is equation number 2. Alright, so I always start with equation number 1, which is y equals to x minus 2. Alright, y is already alone. Alright, so I don't need to take anything over. Y is good, all is good. So I can immediately go on to equation number 2. So equation number 2, I have 2x plus 3y equals to 22. Now I need to get either just x's or just y's. I cannot work with the x and y at the same time. So I go back to what did I get alone in equation 1? So in equation 1 I got y alone. Where in equation number 2 do I have a y? Oh, here with my 3. So that means this x minus 2, I need to go and put in to y's place. So instead of y, I'm now going to write this bracket. So 2x plus 3, and then what was it? X minus 2. So I put in my bracket x minus 2. So instead of writing y, I put in x minus 2, and it's equal to 22. Alright, so that's basically what you do. You substitute with what you got alone. And now you can just simplify because now I only have x's. Alright, so the first thing you obviously need to do is get rid of my brackets. So I take this 3 and I multiply it in. So I'm going to get 2x plus 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, and that is equal to 22. When I go and find my like terms, so 2x plus 3x gives me 5x minus 6 equals to 22. Alright, now I can go on. So obviously I want to get x alone. So to do that, I need to take over everything that is not my x. So the first thing I'm taking over is my 6, negative 6, and if it goes over it becomes plus 6. So I have 5x equals to 28, and then to get rid of this 5, I need to divide both sides by 5. Alright, and it's going to give me x is equal to 28 over 5. Or if you have a decimal answer, you can write the decimal answer. Alright, don't freak out when you get fractions. Fractions are still numbers. Alright, they're just not perfectly shaped, but it doesn't make them any less a number. Alright, so 28 over 5, that's sharp. If you got that, don't stress. Okay, it's not always going to be a perfect number. Alright, so now that I know what x's value is, the question didn't only ask me to solve x, but it also asked me to solve for y. So I go back to equation number 1. Alright, so I go back there, which was y equals to x minus 2. But now I got the answer of what? I got the answer of x. So now instead of writing x, I'm now going to substitute into x my bracket. So I'm going to say y is equal to bracket 28 over 5 minus 2. So I substitute in that, And now I just put that into my calculator and I get my final answer. Okay, so if I put this into my calculator, I get 18 over 5. Alright, which tells me x is equal to 28 over 5, and then y is equal to 18 over 5. I answered my question, I got an x and a y answer. Alright, so these steps always stay the same. Choose number 1 and number 2 for your equations. Obviously, choose the easiest one as number 1. Alright, and then you have to get y or x alone. So obviously they already gave me y alone, so I didn't go and do anything else. Then what you got alone, you substitute into number 2. So because I got y alone, I had to substitute y. Remember your brackets. Then you solve it, simplify it until you get x. And then you take your x and you substitute it back into number 1 to get your y. And then you get your x and your y.